aren't going away anytime soon. These culinary pros generally seem to keep their cool in stressful cooking situations, but sometimes, well, the lid on the pressure cooker blows. Strap in for some of the craziest celebrity chef outbursts. Gordon Ramsay. As the undisputed champion of culinary conniptions, let's start with Gordon Ramsay, the star chef and hot-tempered Brit who has become a reality TV sensation with his shows Kitchen Nightmares, Hell's Kitchen, and MasterChef. We could make lists for days about Ramsay's explosions, but in one particularly cringe-worthy episode of Kitchen Nightmares, Ramsay eviscerates the entire menu of Joe Nagy's Mill Street Bistro in Norwalk, Ohio. Nagy didn't back down, which resulted in quite a confrontation before Ramsay stormed out of the bistro.
When you have the arrogance to stand in front of me and charge your locals $35 for entrees that are inedible, have a look at yourself.
Robert Irvine. On his show Restaurant Impossible, Chef Robert Irvine generally takes a gentler approach than Ramsay when confronting restaurant owners, but one owner sent him over the edge.
I don't think I get this good of food at other places.
And when the offended restaurant owner Tommy says,
I'll whip his
Irvine, who was already annoyed by Tommy's inability to recognize that his squash casserole was subpar, comes storming back into the kitchen.
Yeah, you want to hit me, right?
Yeah,
you do. Be the biggest mistake of your life.
Guy Fieri. This confrontation didn't take place in a kitchen or even in a restaurant, but it did involve diners, drive-ins, and dives host Guy Fieri, so it counts. In October 2013, Fieri was caught by TMZ kicking and shoving his longtime hairdresser out of an SUV at San Francisco International Airport. A rep for Fieri shrugged the whole incident off to TMZ, saying, "A bunch of guys were messing around. Things got a little out of hand, but they're all good now." Other sources said Fieri and his crew had been drinking and that the whole thing was just, quote, dudes being dudes. Apparently, most dudes just want to travel around and brawl with their hairdressers. Joe Bastianich. Restaurateur Joe Bastianich may not be as much of a household name, but to MasterChef audiences, his steely attitude and infamous trash can certainly are. In a particularly memorable scene, Bastianich goes in hard on contestant Howard after he presents a pasta dish to Bastianich's mother, who was a guest judge for the episode. Needless to say, Mom wasn't feeling the pasta. Neither was Joe, who apparently took the opportunity to air several other grievances he had with Howard.
The only thing worse than a cook who can't boil is a narcissist in full denial. Thank you for nothing.
In a subsequent blog for People, Joe hadn't cooled off even slightly. He said Howard's dish reeked of arrogance, adding, "At this point in the competition, Howard has exhausted my patience." To misconstrue so badly a beloved Italian classic for a chef considered to be the matriarch of Italian food in America was totally unnecessary. Scott Conant. Chopped Judge Scott Conant's infamous red onion tizzy wasn't so much of an outburst as it was an uncomfortable seething of ice-cold anger aimed at an aspiring young chef who simply could not let go of the tangy vegetable. At first, Conant politely warned contestant Joshua,
"I have a real aversion to raw onions. Don't go too far."
But Joshua decided to add raw red onions to an arugula salad anyway, and Conant told him, "I don't understand why the onions are there after we told you, especially myself, I don't like raw onions, and you used them in the first course already."
Yet they're here, and I taste them, and it kind of makes me angry. Because if you're not going to listen to me, I'll just stop talking.
Anyone want to take a guess as to whether or not Joshua eventually got chopped? Spoiler, he did. Buddy Valastro. You can admit it. There's always a moment while watching Cake Boss where you kind of want them to drop one of those gigantic mountains of sugar madness on the floor. Well, this episode goes one step further.
All right, no problem. Danny!
When the Cake Boss himself, Buddy Valastro, gets called in, he's less than thrilled.
What did you do? It's Danny's fault.
This is for today!
Time for the entire crew to immediately start on a replacement.
Mind it.